Call the May 9th, 2022 Board of Fire Awards meeting to order at 6:02 PM. First item on the agenda is correspondence.
No.
Having none, we'll go on to new business, which we have service awards.
Yes. That's for Steve Roberts, please. And this is a plaque. We have two plaques, one for Derek Chenard, who served as a member for one term, and also for Scott Dinsmore, who served for 19 years, I believe. That sound right? Yep. 19 years as a Board of Fire Awards member.
Just want to say thank you for all the years of service and dedication.
Thank you very much.
I met you years and years ago, and have worked with you personally, and I appreciate all your time and all that you've put into the department and the town appreciates it.
Had a
Thank you
good
very
time doing
much.
it.
All right, let's get together, boys.
Thank you, Scott.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, Scott.
Yeah, thanks. And for the little lady. Thank you, Chief.
You're gonna stay, right? Oh,
I haven't either.
Right,
I have issues.
thank you, Scott.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate all
Scotty.
your work. Okay, moving on, we have substitution policy update.
yep. Back in just February, we had created a substitution policy, and once we put it into practice, found that it had a little bit of an issue, so this is just coming back and fixing the issue. So in the one that was approved, when you get all the way down to the bottom of page 1, it says, it talks about trades, 144 hours of trades or substitutions per year. And then in the original policy, it said that given or initiated or accepted, I think is the word, the verbiage that was in there. And what that essentially did was cut the amount of trades available in half. And then we found that it just wasn't very practical to do that. So in removing the accepted or initiated or accepted terminology of that sentence, it basically opened that door back up to really what was intended was to have a cap on the number of substitutions you could do in a year, but also not to make it so restrictive that it didn't serve the purpose what it was intended to do. So I'm asking the board to accept this revision as drafted.
So I have, if there was a trade for a whole 24-hour shift, which is 24 hours,
Yep,
I come up with 6 shifts per year.
correct.
Makes 144. Is that enough?
I think so. I mean, that's nearly a month.
It's one every 2 months, right? It would be one 24-hour shift every 2
Yeah,
months.
and well, if they grouped them together, that would be nearly a month's worth of
Okay.
time off. So it wasn't necessarily intended to replace vacation leave usage. It was just to kind of augment that. As you know from your time, right, with that rotating schedule is sometimes it just, you get a kid's birthday, falls on your work schedule, you can trade a day with someone as opposed to burning a vacation day for that purpose.
Now, did we allow partial shifts Do we allow partial shifts? I don't
Yep,
remember.
they don't have to take it in any
Okay.
particular group.
Okay.
Is really just a way to not, basically not have an open-ended amount, right? We still want them to come to work.
Well, I guess 6 is better than 3, so.
6 is better than 3 because we saw people within no time, they were done.
Yeah, okay.
And so it's, the substitution policy really has a no cost to the employer, the town of Ware, whereas vacation time does. Vacation time is covered with overtime, and so there's significant savings there.
Is there any other questions or comments on that?
I move we accept it as presented.
Second.
Okay, moved by Wayne Meady, seconded by Dave Huey. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, motion carries 5-0-0. Okay, next is ambulance purchase contract.
I knew there's one thing I forgot. Thanks, Louisa. Oh, no, I did. It looks just like that. That's why I forgot. I will make arrangements. Can we come back to that one?
Yeah, does anybody can bring that over?
Yeah.
All right, next we have, we'll move on then, we'll come back to that. Next is approval of the meeting minutes.
Yeah, if you want to do that, I will make a phone call. If you could just keep notes as to who makes the motion
Okay,
in the manifest as well.
I move we accept the minutes as printed.
Second that.
okay, moved by Wayne Meady, second by Louisa Earth. Any questions or discussion on the motion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 4-0-0. All right, and then we have the manifest. Can you grab that, Louisa? Okay, thank you. I'll make a motion to accept the fire department's accounts payable manifest for checks dated 5/12/2022 in the amount of $6,323.78. Okay, second by Louisa Earth. Is there any questions or discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor, aye? Aye. Oppose? No. Motion carries 4-0-0. Okay, so we accepted the minutes. Wayne motioned, and I believe Dave? Louisa, I'm sorry, Louisa, second. And that was 4-0-0. And then we did the manifest, which I motioned,
I'll second it.
and Louisa seconded.
That's the same, 4-0.
That was also 4-0-0. Yeah, I'm sorry. Dave did the policy that we did before that, so. Okay, and next, we'll move on to administrative report.
Yeah, so the administrative report, I'll do the best that I can. We're still in the converting over into the new NFERS system, and getting data out is more of a challenge than it used to be, so I don't have like the run data, but not that that's all overly important. So the budget summary, standpoint, this is through the end of April, so that's more than a quarter of the way through the year, and we've spent just about a quarter's worth of the budget that we have. There isn't anything at the moment that is of concern other than, one is vehicle repairs. We've taken a pretty decent hit already this year. And the other part of that equation is fuel. The town is looking at piggybacking onto the state sheds, which is one in Goffstown and one in Henniker, to allow fueling of town vehicles there. Those two particular sheds only have diesel fuel, which most of our fleet is. We would still get gasoline from the town of Ware facility. The closest place to get gasoline from here is probably Warner, which I'm not exactly sure where that is in Warner. But we could also get gasoline at, Hazen Drive and stuff like that. That might work out for some vehicles like potentially mine, but I think generally speaking, we don't use enough gasoline where it's probably worth traveling that far. We do drive by Goffstown, the state facility in Goffstown, every time we come back from CMC, anytime we go CMC to the Elliott. Right now, I think the state is paying, I think it's 2.25, and then there's an administrative fee of about 15%, so we're saving a fair amount of money by doing that. At least $1 a gallon.
Do you know when that contract's up?
Yeah, so the state contract ends, I think it's July 1st. And then they would have to re-bid it, I guess. And the market is, this is not the time of year you want to go out and bid your fuel contract. So I'm not sure what they're going to do after that, if it's just going to be market rate for a little bit. I'd be surprised unless I get a good deal to lock in. I don't know if there are good deals right now, so. But fuel's definitely gonna be a concern as the year goes on. I
Yeah.
think we'll be okay. I don't know if it says in here what we did last year. It does not. We really haven't, I don't think that we were out burning fuel needlessly, where we pretty much start the trucks when we have something to do. Most of the time that's responding to a call for service. Where we can conserve fuel, we will, but I just, at some point it is what it is, and we'll have to deal with it somewhere. But it's definitely a town-wide and a every town problem.
Everybody.
Yeah, yep. Go ahead.
Just, I know there's a state shed and a fuel, I believe they have a fuel depot. I don't know if they have gas. It's just off of exit 7, which is the Davisville exit of 89. So technically it's in Warner.
Yep.
That might be it, but, the only time it would serve is if somebody was happening to go by.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends on, any savings is a savings. I could get gas there. That's really not that far from my house. But as far as, we're not gonna send the forestry there to
yeah.
get fuel.
But, so, yeah, I don't know if they have gas there, but it's just,
In Warner, they have gas.
yeah, I don't know where that one is, but I know there's one just off exit 7,
For the state.
the state.
Yeah,
There's
so
a
that's-
shed right there.
That must be it.
Yep.
Henniker is, if we're coming back from Concord, for instance, they could easily go to Henniker and get fuel, if need be. Goffstown is really not that far away. it'll take some adjustment, but it could easily be done. The revenue picture doesn't look great if you were to look at it in a snapshot. So over the last hour, EMS billing contractor suffered I'll just sum it up as a data breach. I'm not exactly sure what happened to them. They had an issue with their servers, so for like maybe 5 or 6 weeks, they did not produce any bills. Thank you. So we saw no income for some period of time. All that stuff's been taken care of, and they, over the course of the next couple months, we should see all of our claims be submitted, and our revenue should start coming back in. And I expect, and the owner of the company expressed that, we should be whole. We haven't received income because we haven't had any billing going out. And that's really kind of it on the money stuff. Last time that we met, we talked about paramedic school, and that contract was signed, if you will, or that agreement for paramedic school was executed. They're waitlisted at the moment, but they're locked into the September, I think it's September class. That's really kind of it. I have something to talk about as far as employees in the non-public, but I do have the other item that I wanted to talk about, which was the ambulance stuff.
Okay, so we're all set on administrative report. We'll go back to the ambulance purchase contract.
As you know, at town meeting that the voters approved us to expend, I think it was $350,000 for the purchase of a new ambulance to replace what we refer to as Ambulance 2. Bob Richards formulated a series of specifications, if you will. We sent those out to 6 different vendors representing more than 6 lines of ambulances, because some have 2 different models, if you will. I'm trying to think who that might be. I think Braun might be one of those where they're actually representing more than one line of ambulances. We received, out of the, did I say 6? Out of the 6 vendors that we sent them out to, 2 vendors responded back in total, which was Braun and Lifeline. Lifeline is the vendor we've used for the last, well, at least the last 2 ambulances, and I would say it goes back further than that. We have a fairly decent relationship with them. I think they've served us well going forward. Out of those 2 vendors, one was less expensive than the other. We sat down with that particular vendor to kind of go over, what was returned versus do we need to make some tweaks to it, which we did. Some of those tweaks, and then we ended up with a final price of, including a trade, of $326,290. And that's with Lifeline.
What was that again, Chief?
$326,290.
Okay, thank you.
That is inclusive of the trade, which they're allowing $6,000 for a trade. And that's with that's with the Dodge 4x4 diesel chassis. There was a bunch of discussion about whether it was gonna be diesel, gas, Dodge, or Ford. I don't think any manufacturer could tell you when they're gonna have a chassis available. The thought was, from discussions with the vendor, that the Dodge might be a little more, readily available. And so we basically picked one and said, we'll go with the Dodge diesel. That has the Cummins motor in it. And so what they're asking for at this point is to enter into an agreement with them by accepting their contract, I guess, is then that puts us into the production sequence, which allows them to, one, secure a chassis should one show up, and also sends these specifications on to their engineering, which will produce drawings and specifications, which we have to go through all again and sign off on, and then it gets into that final agreed contract. So if you make changes after the next kind of go-round, there's usually a penalty for that, but we can still make changes
Before that final,
before that
yeah,
final,
okay.
that final one. This basically just says, yep, we're committed to you, and moves the process along.
What's our timeline?
To get one,
What's the timeline for all this? Do we have one?
I don't think, I don't even know if they have any days in here, because it's been kind of sitting on my desk for a little bit. I want to say it was, the last that I heard, because I don't see it in here, is like 285 days after receipt of the chassis, which no one can tell you when a chassis will be available. So it's a
If
year?
we were able to, I don't know if what they need for chassis is available to us through state bid, but if we were able to secure one through state bid, would that be a possibility to?
I don't know the answer to
Yeah.
that. I can ask that question.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I just, 285 days. I mean, if you don't receive the chassis for 6 months, then, or more, then that's way out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
we can ask the question.
It is what it is. I just didn't know if that, I don't know what state, what we have available to us through that. If the chassis would be compatible with, what they need, but,
Yeah, so they have, I don't know, I'm not sure if I have that information here. So I want to say this one here was, oh, this is the Dodge chassis, right? Right, so they order it with certain options,
Mhm.
obviously. I don't, I mean, I guess if they got the options that they needed on that.
yeah, I don't
Again, I
know.
think if they're gonna build one,
I know, yeah.
right, I I think if you're building one from scratch, I don't know if you'll get one any faster than they're gonna get one.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that there isn't, you know, something out there that, because they're gonna paint it anyways. So the color doesn't really matter. But I'm more than happy to ask that question.
Well, I know, and I don't know if this, I haven't done state bid for a long time, and also in this market that we're in, all the rules are gone, so. But it used to be, we would look on the state bid list and see if there was something there that would meet, because the state would put all their specs out for bid, and then if you simply could accept what a vehicle that fit those specs for you, you
Yep.
could tag on to that price, basically, as a municipality, which significant savings.
Well, we do get a discount on the chassis to begin with. I don't know if it says,
And
I
where's,
don't know if that is factored into this or not.
okay, where,
Because there was some discussion, I know that, like with the Ford one, until you actually got a VIN, you wouldn't really know what the I guess the factory discount was, because until you got a number, you didn't really have a chassis. So I don't know the answer to that one either.
where's the assembly plant for this company, do you know?
Someplace where they make corn,
Yeah.
so it's like Iowa or something, yeah.
Why does,
Louisa may know more, she works more with Bob Richards than any of us.
why is
She probably
there,
knows all about it.
is there sometimes corn in the vehicle we get?
Yeah, it's out in the Midwest,
Pick it
yeah.
up.
in the world of factory visits, it didn't seem like it was,
Oh, I see, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
it,
So that might be an issue, if we were to get our own chassis, we'd have to get it out there, too, so.
you'd have to get it out there, yeah. Yeah, so, what I'm looking for tonight is, a vote that pushes this down along. Like, yep, we
Okay.
agree that we're gonna do business with them. You know, this price. This price and more or less these, you know, specs that we did, but we're gonna see another set of specifications and drawings before we make it to the next step.
So how does that fit with the town purchasing policy?
So the town purchasing policy requires us to have either RFP or bid, because it's more than $5,000. We have, as this group, approved those, so the money's already been approved by the voters who are the agents to expend. And so we're really just satisfying the purchasing policy that we put it out. And we got responses back, and in this case, we chose the least expensive of the two. Now, we did this as the Board of Fire Awards, we did this when the last purchases that we did with the car, with the boat, with thermal imaging cameras. So I asked that question, does this have to go to the selectmen, or we just do it here? And we can just do it here.
So will we receive the two bids, but because we sent out,
We sent out 6.
yeah, so we satisfied the
Yep.
the requirement there, okay. And we've had good luck with that company then? Before?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Unless you get into, unless we're gonna say, you know what, we're just gonna start from scratch, right? And I think the product that we're getting, I think the quality is there. I think when there's been issues, they responded well to those, whatever those issues were. you know, we can debate the ergonomics of every piece of it, I'm sure. You know, the bigger question maybe, you know, at some point, do we want to look at the whole concept, right? Of whatever, is this where we want to have the backboard compartment any longer, or do we want to move it somewhere else? Or what are other innovations being done out there? I will say that this one is more or less a duplicate of the one we have currently from them, our ambulance one. We've made some changes to it based on the ambulance one that we have. Where we moved some things ergonomically inside the box, and we made some things bigger, or changed the size of things to suit our needs a little better.
Does that come with a new cot?
Not a new cot, but it comes with the loading system.
Okay.
The loading system alone is like, I think it went up $6,000 or $3,000, so that's like 28,000 bucks maybe.
Is that,
It's expensive.
so is that loading system for every call or just for the heavy ones?
No, we would use it for every
Okay,
call.
all right.
Yep. Yep.
What's the weight capacity of it?
I don't know the answer to that. The cot's 700 pounds.
Yeah,
So I would assume it's that much.
okay.
Yep. But and you know, and when you look at, and we've talked about this right along, is, you know, when you look at our workforce, most importantly is many times there's only two of them. And I would say half as many of those, they're, and I put myself in this category, is we're not the biggest, brawniest group of people that exist out there. And so when you're, you know, when you run into even a 100-pound patient, right, is you pick them up and wrong, and I don't want to see anyone suffer an injury that, you know, we could have engineered out.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I think, real important to have that whole thing as less taxing on your back as possible.
Yeah, and we have some people that will tax your back. For sure. And I will say that the cots that we have today work better than the cots we had previous to that, which were a major step forward from a manual cot. So, you know, it's just kind of, you know, when we can make advances, you know, with technology to make life better, the lifting part, that's to me a no-brainer. We've done it with, you know, the computers. We've done it with I Am Responding, which I think works as a great tool that we have. To the Lucas device, right, which saves a whole person in a CPR kind of situation. You know, that the investments in those areas, I think, are wise investments. I mean, there's many times where we're literally responding with a bare minimum of people, 2 or 3 people.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, unfortunately, the people that make those devices know that too, and pay dearly for them. But this loading system is easily $25,000 worth of this, in this truck.
Now that's different, that actually loads the cart, right? It doesn't just grab the end of
Correct,
it.
so the cot will raise itself to loading height, and then it clips into this device, because it extends out through the back of the truck. It clips into that and basically holds it while you can retract the wheels.
Does it
For the
slide
legs.
out like?
Yep.
Like a tray or
And then
something?
and then it slides into the
Okay.
truck.
Oh, good. I like that.
So once they're on the cot, arguably, you don't have to lift that person again
Okay.
until you're transferring them in the hospital.
It's a good step forward.
Yeah, the cot alone, which we were fortunate enough to get through grant funding, or reimbursed through the federal government, the cot alone was 18 grand. So
So that's
this
fairly,
truck easily could be $18,000 more than it.
so that cot that's gonna be used on this ambulance isn't original to the previous ambulance?
No,
Okay,
it's actually at least the second. For ambulance 2, it's probably the third one. And we secured those with no cost to the town 2 years ago, I think.
Does anybody have any discussion on that? Questions? Comments?
I move we enter into a contract with Lifeline for the purchase of the new ambulance.
What was that? You wanna mention the amount?
No. It may change.
Yeah, I think to Wayne's point is,
Okay.
right, so we're gonna get a specification back. The fluctuation in price, I would not lock into necessarily a number.
Okay, then
Yes.
we'll have to come back and probably approve that final number. I would imagine. I can check, but
Yeah, we can double
at
check
some
on
point
that.
we'll
I,
have to
I,
mention
I think that
number.
we'll see, I wouldn't be surprised to see the number change in one direction or another based on the volatility of.
Yeah, okay.
Right, just the cost of materials is going
Yeah,
up
no,
every
I
day.
understand, yep.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could do one as proposed, and then if we gotta come back and modify it, we could do that, but
Okay,
it's,
all right, so the motion is to enter into a contract to purchase the ambulance, right, from Lifeline. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second, so, motion by Wayne Meady, second by Louisa Earth. Is there any further comments or discussion? All in favor? Oh,
did you say Lifeline, Wayne?
I did.
Yes, he did.
Let me just,
Need to change that to specialty vehicles.
yeah, I would change it to specialty vehicles.
Wayne Rescue, respond to the PD, unknown medical problem. Wayne Rescue.
You wanna vote first?
Yes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Wait, 5.
5-0-0.
Okay,
All right.
I'll send those down to Steve so he can sign his Lifeline. Yeah, just take my card. Hold on, Louisa. You won't get far.
Says name and then by. I signed where my name goes. I don't know if that's what they're looking for.
Yeah,
As long as there's a
I'll
signature,
check and
it's all
fill
they
the
care
rest
about.
in if need be. Unless there's something else on the agenda, that's all I have.
We gotta do a non-public, right?
Yep.
Okay. There you go. All right. I make a motion that we move to non-public session under RSA 91-A:3, 2B.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion and second, motion by myself, second by Wayne Meady. Chief, would you call the roll for us?
Yeah, let me just catch up with you here. So Steve Roberts was
Yep.
the,
Motion. Second, Wayne Meady.
all right. Steve Roberts,
Yes.
Wayne Meany,
Yes. Yep.
Dave Huey. And I'm a yes.
Okay, we're going to non-public session. Dave, would you take
Did
care
you
of
say
that?
we're gonna adjourn after?
And we will, after we come out of non-public session, we will adjourn.